If you struggle with getting realistic facial contour in your portraits without looking fake, stick around to master depth and dimension in Affinity without losing that natural skin texture. Here we have the initial photograph, which doesn't look too bad, but we're gonna do a little bit of enhancement in the facial contours. So we are gonna use the blur method. So let me create the two layers again. We've got lighten and we've got darken. So we use the black brush in the darken and the white brush in the lighten. We're going to have our brush hardness all the way up and our brush flow all the way up. And then we are going to use a fairly small brush. We're in the lighten here, and essentially what we're going to do here, I'm going to bring this in like that, and like that. I'm going to bring this in on the forehead, a little bit here on the chin, contours here. Okay, a little bit on the jawbone here. And then I'm going to put a little bit here. And then down the edge of the nose. And then we're going to switch to the darken layer. Press X to make sure we have our black brush. And again, we've got the area under the lip. We've got the contour of the jaw. We've got the collarbone here. Then a bit around the contour of the nose. And the other side of the nose. Okay, so the next part we're going to do here, with each of these, we'll add the Gaussian blur. And then we're going to bring that radius way up so that that white then starts to soften the tones in the skin. We're going to bring down the opacity of the layer. Take it all the way down, bring it up. When it starts to look too much, just back it off a little bit. Okay. And then for the darken, turn that back on. We'll add our Gaussian blur. We'll bring that way up until it starts to spread out like that. And then we're going to bring its opacity down as well. Then you bring that down and just start to bring it back in. And so if we select these two layers, shift and select, here's before, here's after. Okay, while they're selected, do a Control G to group those. And we'll call this the blur method. Now you can spend more time with either of these to perfect it and, you know, get more of the edge of the collarbone down here and in around the neck. But this gives you a good idea. Now, one thing I like to do as well when I'm doing these kinds of adjustments is to add in a fill layer so we can get an idea of what the adjustments themselves look like. So let's add the fill layer, and we're going to take it all the way to the bottom. And we're going to change it to 50%. So mid-gray, 50% between black and white. And then we turn the background layer off, the blur method. You can see that's a lot softer. So again, let's put the background back on. So that's the blur method. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. All right, have a great day.